everybody. We are here for two reasons. We do have a project that we are doing to create employment for women and girls who are victims of gender-based violence. It is a project partly funded by JEF UNDP, and it is an agro-processing facility where we're looking to create food products for sale and to create sustainable employment for women and girls. I think my task here today is to talk about gender. Where are we? Some time ago, the ILO released a report speaking about St. Lucia was among the top countries with women being in management. And at that time, I think all women who were in management put a feather in their cap and threw up their chest and said that we had arrived. Where are we? We are at a place where women have been managers of the social services for over 30 years. We have had a female attorney general, I think 2. We have had most of the senior public servants are female, judges in our courts, ministers and legislators, politicians, community leaders, etc., etc. But what have we achieved with regards to gender equality? There is still ambiguity and a lot of confusion around the age of consent for girls. We're not sure if it's 18 or if it is 16. Girls can be sexually active, but they cannot access birth control, go to the doctor on their own. They cannot vote. They cannot sign legally binding documents, but they can be sexually active. Women are still asked for their receipts to prove that they have contributed to assets in a relationship when they go to the family court to look for relief. Women who file for divorce are still victimized by both the system of justice and the laws administered by female judges in the courts. We have cases where the divorce had been final for at least 2 years, but the man had not held up his end of the bargain dictated by the court for child support and separation of assets. Rape of children is still being referred to as sex with minors in our criminal code and in court filings. And, but we have, as a country, a predominance of women in critical positions for the last 30 years. A rape trial is still like an inquisition during the witches' inquisition in the 1900s for a woman from disclosure to trial. And our women has not seen it fit to do something about it, but we are still senior managers in every aspect, be it in the public service or in the private sector. Where are we with respect to the Sustainable Development Goals? Goal number 1, poverty reduction. Goal number 2, zero hunger. Goal number 5, gender equality. Gender equality is a buzzword that we use when we want to get funding from international organizations and when we want to calm the nerves of international organizations that complains about gender equality, gender conforming, and things like that. Where are we when it comes to decent work and economic growth? SGD 8. We have women in St. Lucia who leave Beaufort, travel to Castries and work for $250 a fortnight. We have women who work with very prominent hotels and they call our organization for help with food. And I noticed during the week somebody posted a job receipt, a salary slip that said the person went home with $250. And everybody fell down on the person and said, well, how many hours did they work? Nobody pays that amount of money. They work for 12. Well, we have news. The hotels pay between $3.07 to $4.57 an hour. And there are women who work at the hotel every day and they go home and they do not have food to eat. So I noticed that it was like a re-victimization of the person that were being underpaid and not a question to the authorities like the Labor Department, the Ministry of Tourism, and the respective hotels that were involved. What how might we look at innovation and we look at research to reduce domestic violence, to reduce sexual abuse of children? It is something that has been on the rise, specifically now that women have lost their jobs. We had over 18,000 women, 18,600 and something people who lost their job due to corona. And out of this, 70% of them were women. We have how do we provide opportunities for vulnerable populations and communities, and specifically women and girls who have nowhere to go when they go to the social services? The same women who manage the social services are the same women who will not design a care plan to ensure their safety and security. But we continue to be very proud that the ILO has said that we are at the forefront when it comes to women managers, but we must ask ourselves the question, where are we with gender equality and the safety and security of our women and girls? And generally, how do we eliminate inequalities in St. Lucia? While COVID-19 has exposed a lot of our vulnerabilities, I have to say, and I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, that COVID-19 did not create our vulnerabilities. It simply exposed it, and how might we use the opportunity to do better and to use innovation and research to come out of this crisis a lot better. I noticed that even when it comes to submitting a document to the Ministry of Education to pay a bill of $250, you had to print it, sign it, and hand deliver it. They would not accept it over email because they don't accept scanned documents. We are still where we were in 1974 when I was still in Belvedere Primary School in Beaufort. Gender equality must be something that we aim to achieve, not something that we use conveniently when we think it is going to bear some fruit. We are at the time where we are still asking girls to behave like girls, but at the same time, we continue to ignore the very conventions and protocols that we sign at international meetings and say that we are right up there with the rest of the world. Today, we heard a number of people who have achieved things that we read and we attribute to people out of North America and Europe. And you know, it's exciting, but it's also sad at the same time, because here we sit in St. Lucia, cutting people leg and limb left and right when we have people who have the technology to save with a simple procedure. So while we speak of gender equality, we have not made any strides, as women are still at a great disadvantage within the system of justice, the system of legislation. And while women are very proud that they are senior managers, they are everything, they probably do have very big positions, but I always doubt that they have the power that comes with the position to create the change that is necessary so that we as St. Lucian can be proud of being women who has engineered change in our society. I thank you.